I don't know if anyone's here hanging out, but I'm just doing a quick live thing to put stuff on the record. I know a lot of you won't see this live. And maybe we'll get one or two, notifications to go out, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm just going to do this pretty quick for you. Today's 9th of January, and we're getting very, very close to the actual tipping point. Let's see, today's like Tuesday the 9th, so we've got another week and a half. Let's see, the 9th to the 20th, okay, 10 plus. Anyway, we're just days away from the actual tipping point. The actual tipping point is here. Been talking about that for forever, for years, frankly. This is the tipping point right here. I'm just going to put it in. And this is when we enter the era, the age of Aquarius. So, like I said yesterday or the day before, we're getting a lot of compression of the planets, okay? All the Sagittarius, there's Moon, Mercury, and Venus moving quickly through Sagittarius, putting a lot of pressure on the liars, thieves, the scoundrels, the swarm, the global elites, who are trying desperately to press their agenda to take over the world, literally, and turn it into one singular farm that is owned and operated by the global elites. It's absolutely terrifying as far as I'm concerned, and we should be very, very disturbed and on high alert, extreme alert. So what I'm doing is I'm looking out for, let's say, indicators that validate the stories that I share here and my opinions that I share. Also, we've got Mars and Sun in Capricorn, very serious, heavy reality checks. So that is kind of encouraging to me because they're actually cozying up very nicely with Uranus. So we've got these two very contradictory energies here. The truth is being exposed. There's immense pressure to expose the truth, reveal all the slime and the scoundrels. And in the background, we've got this kind of stabilizing influence, which is allowing this revelation to occur. Okay? Anyway, let me go over here. Let's have a look. So, greetings and welcome from TarotLumination. So, excuse me, God, excuse me, oh my God. Oh God. Excuse me, I've had some terrible like sinus and allergy things going on. So I'm just going to pull up a couple of things that I found today. As I was scanning across the world, one of the first things that really struck me was the revolution going on live right now in Germany. Do you remember the revolution a few months ago with all the farmers in the Netherlands? And they all amassed, I think it was Amsterdam, I can't remember where the capital, anyway, the Netherlands had this massive uprising of all the farmers whose lives are being destroyed systematically by their government. And it's happening. Their lives are literally being systematically destroyed by their government. And it's all part of the agenda of the swarm, the global elites, those nasty, evil perverts who are trying to, impose their evil across the world. And so, despite the best efforts by the farmers a few months ago, their revolution has failed so far, but it brought things to the surface. It was a repeat of the revolution in Canada some time ago when the farmers did the same thing. Enough is enough is enough. The farmers were basically protesting peacefully against the Trudeau government in Canada, which is basically a communist WEF puppet organization. And again, sadly, Canada is really, really suffering because the the global elites, the swarm, they're getting away with it. It's very frightening for the average Canadian. If I was Canadian, I'd be terrified right now. So the same thing happened later in the Netherlands. All the farmers and all their tractors went out and did that thing. Hello, Russian Thoughtbot. Hey, that fizzled out because the European Union, Brussels, and all of that, they mandated, there was no vote. The people don't want this BS. Anyway, it was mandated that the farmers have to hand over all their land. And so that's kind of what's happening. And it's destroying the country, the culture. So this sent shockwaves across the world because it's happening everywhere. Everywhere that the swarm can touch, they are touching. And they are doing everything they can to destroy everything as fast as possible before they meet any further resistance. The thing is, the further and further they press to destroy humanity, the more resistance they are finding. And so in Germany, same thing's happening today, right now, in the last few days, and will continue probably for a while. The farmers have come out and said basically again, same story. No farmers, no food. The German government has turned into a communist dictatorship. Again, a puppet of the WEF and the swarm and the global elites. And their agenda is to take all the taxpayer money and send it somewhere else, like to a war or to a charity, or anything but for the German population. So in terms of the German government, we the people of the German government are the last. Okay, they're at the very, very bottom. Okay. They're being degraded, insulted, overridden, okay? It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And the farmers are getting to the point where they're being very, very polite, but the revolution is spreading. This is revolutionary energy, okay? It's, again, we're seeing it. We're seeing the opening salvos, the first sparks, the first kindling lighting up of the age of revolution, okay? And the revolution is between we the people and the global elites, the swarm, okay? There's billions of we the people, and there's just a handful of the swarm. So we'll see what happens. The thing is, the swarm has all the money and the power and the control. And we've allowed that to happen. Duh. United States is the last bastion of we the people that has the only thing in the world like it, with a constitutionally designed constitution that specifically states that we the people are number one, and the government works for us. We pay them. They collect the taxes that we allow them to collect. And we the people, being as complacent, I guess dumb and unaware and gullible as we are, have allowed it to turn into this despicable debauchery and theft and perversion and crime that is now the U.S. federal government, no matter what side you're on. So, again, no matter what side you're on, the revolution is coming. So that's the first thing that struck me today, is that the German farmers' revolution is expanding and growing. And there are some observers in Western Europe and Russia and the Middle East. They're basically saying the German government is going to go down. The German government will not be able to withstand the farmers' revolution. So there you go. Next, let me see. I'm going to go. Give me a second. I'm going to go over to the stage. Okay, next thing I found over here. Let's see if I can do this without getting into too much trouble. Okay, that's the story I wanted to share with you. This just came out today, early this morning on the Epoch Times. Farmers are striking in Germany and could actually bring down the government. That's from the Russian Prime Minister. What's his name? Medvedev. No, it's not Putin, it's Medvedev. Okay, so it's a very big deal. The next thing I found, let me go over here. There's a lot of stuff, as you know, coming out in the United States about the 6th day of the first month of 2021, which is being painted in different stories depending on where you sit and feel and look in the American landscape. So if you are, if you're aligned with Grandpa Joe and his administration, you're already well used to the storylines all over the mainstream media that there was an insurrection, as they call it, back on that day. And that storyline is still being pounded and pounded and pounded and pounded into the media. It is the number one message that Grandpa Joe is using to build his election campaign. It's pathetic. It's so pathetic, because everything else he actually does is shockingly destructive, bad, and evil for this country, in my opinion. And so what is he going to do? He's going to demonize all the people who were peacefully trying to reclaim what was stolen from them. The problem is still very, very much alive today. There are all sorts of documentaries and revelations coming out all over the place. The truth is being revealed, okay? It's happening. And it's indisputable. These are facts, okay? You can do your own research. I'm just going to pick up one thing. This is just one example. See if I can show you. How am I going to do this? Okay. Again, I'm using my amazing skills with technology here. Okay, that's the wrong story on the wrong page. Okay, I'm going to have to switch to something else. Okay, I think I've got it. Let me do this. Bear with me. Be patient, people. Please be patient. All right, so now, bear with me again. Oh, come on. I can do this. I can do this. Stay with me. Stay with me. I'm going to basically take you towards one of my favorite sources is Mr. Tucker Carlson. Of course, if you are a fan of Grandpa Joe, you're going to think that Tucker is one of the white supremacists. It's hilarious, really. So anyway, there's from early this morning. Okay, Tucker's actually got 3 complete stories coming on regarding the thing I just talked about on the 6th day of January in the year of 2021. And so I'm just going to give you a glimpse if I can. There's people talking about it here on one show, one episode. There's one person here from one episode. There's another person here from one episode. You can see the huge crowds. And you can see here, okay, on another episode. And what is really, this is just yesterday and today, okay? What's amazing, I'm not going to play all that stuff because I'm already in enough trouble, okay? What's amazing is all this footage, video footage, enormous amounts of video footage is coming out now that completely refutes Grandpa Joe and the committee on their ridiculous story about, a revolution, violent insurrection revolution. It's now proven that a lot of American FBI operatives were in the crowd staging and manipulating things. It's already proven that the local police were set up. It's on camera. We're talking about a bunch of police officers who are talking amongst themselves, witnessing what's happening live around them and realizing that, oh my God, we've been set up. Okay? That's very, very scary. That's very, very disturbing, okay? And of course, there's tons of other stuff. There's about 300 people in prison right now who don't have to be there, okay? And so on and so on. But again, the truth is being revealed. We've got the moon, we've got Venus and Mercury all compressing in Sagittarius, piercing surgically like a bayonet, like a weapon, onto the fog, delusion, lies, betrayal, deception, crime, the invisible enemy within, that is Grandpa Joe and his administration. Of course, the whole government is actually involved, but anyway, I'm just trying to point out things, energy surges that are coming up that are impossible to ignore. Now, everything that I just described, you're not going to see it on mainstream media anywhere. None of that. So I just described the thing about, the so-called revolutionary insurrection from 3 years ago. Okay, I talked about that. I just talked about the German farmers. That's a revolutionary energy. Right now, as of today, there has been a military coup in Burma, Myanmar. It's already a very turbulent country, but it's now official. The communist military has completely taken over the country. So they're screwed. They're utterly, utterly screwed. It's really scary. I mean, like the war subjects of Ukraine and the Middle East right now, Israel, Palestine, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, Houthis, and all of that, that's kind of sitting over here at the moment. And I'm looking at deep global news, okay? And even the deep global news is setting those stories aside over here, because the really, really important stories are to do with revolutionary upheaval across the world. So let me show you another one. I talked about one the other day in China, where it's pretty obvious now, if you're inside China, that there's about 900 million people, almost 1 billion people. That's about a third of their population live on less than $300 a month. And most of those live on less than 100 a month. Okay, so but the numbers are aggregated. So China is in a massive implosion, and it's going to keep imploding. They've got extremely severe hyper cold weather crushing the whole of the north and central China. They're having a lot of problems internally in China, and the more problems they have internally, the more boisterous and flamboyant Mr. Ping behaves on the world stage. So the latest thing that's come out, I'm going to see if I can share this with you too, okay? I don't feel the same way. I don't feel the same way at all. I know what you're saying, Russian Thoughtbot. I definitely understand what you're saying. I just have a different opinion. All right, let me find the thing I wanted to show you on Mr. Ping right now. Okay, where did I put it? I just had it. Where is it? Okay, there. I think I got it here. Nope, that's not it. Damn. Give me a second. I'm trying to be really cool, efficient, quick, so I don't take up your day. There it is. This is what I wanted to show you. There's tremendous upheaval in China already as it is. It's been brewing for several years, but we're going to reach a point of critical mass. You have to understand that the Aquarian energy is very, very, very critical for China, because they have Aquarius ascendant rising, first house, and they have the moon in Aquarius, okay? So here, this is the latest thing that I found, which has been brewing, and I'm really kind of glad that, let's see if I can show it without, how can I do this so you can actually read it? Military reform will backfire on China's leader, the military veterans are saying. That's already happening inside China. So, give me a second here. So, inside China, they have an enormous military in terms of people. A couple of million, several million, I can't remember how many millions, but it's a lot. And they're building a lot of weapons. They're trying to build a navy. They're trying to build an air force. They're trying to build an army. And they're trying to do it at breakneck speed, using basically hijacked, stolen intellectual property, materials, everything you can, everything that you need to build a massive military. A lot of it is very, let's say, subpar. They do a lot of testing which fails, and their military has never been to war in the way that America is used to it for the last 80, 100 years. China doesn't have that experience. So they might be very boisterous, but it's going to be extremely hard for them to execute the war the way Mr. Ping fantasizes it's going to be executed. So anyway, point I'm trying to get at, you probably know that Mr. Ping has become maniacally dictatorial, and he's ultra paranoid. He has his own personal execution squad. It has a fancy name to it that doesn't sound like execution squad, but that's what they do. They basically remove anyone that Mr. Ping deems a threat. They remove that person, okay, and that person disappears. Draw your own conclusions. And that's happening a lot in the military. Now, the Chinese military has a long history of being established. China's been around for thousands of years, much longer than America. And they have culture and everything like that. And the Chinese military leaders are talking amongst themselves, basically saying, this guy Ping, he's become obsessed. He's a maniac. He's trying to turn the Chinese military, into his own private army, to do whatever he says, however, when, why, who, where, what, how, on a whim, just like that. He has zero respect for the actual military itself and the leadership and the culture inside the military. Mr. Ping has never been on a battlefield. He's never shot guns and killed people. He's never done any of that stuff. He just walks around in his super modest, parka, trying to be Mr. Mellow and exerting extreme power at the same time. So we're looking at revolution. I would not be surprised to see major revolutionary upheaval inside China in this year. Okay, as we cross over into the tipping point, we get into the 0 degrees Aquarius, the 1 degree in Aquarius, and then it's going to retrograde back for 3 months into Capricorn. So it's going to be a seesaw of chaos, revolution, and a battle between freedom and tyranny. Okay, the Pluto in Capricorn energy, 29.5 degrees, is going to represent the tyrannical, hyper-compressed overlords across the world, all of them, because they operate as a swarm. They're doing everything they can to destroy the freedom of we the people. They're doing a very good job, frankly. They're not as successful as they thought they were going to be or want to be, but they're still working very, very hard, okay? So, anyway, I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to share those things. There are the 3 things I wanted to share. The important ones. The farmers in Germany, they are essentially staging a revolution against the German government. So far it's working. Okay? The government is kind of paralyzed at the moment in Germany. They don't know what to do because the uprising is big and it's very, very obviously favoring we the people. And it's showing to the German population that the German government is absolutely completely, utterly corrupted for their own self-aggrandizement and taking German taxpayer money and spending it on global elite agendas. COP28, Agenda 23, and Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050, and all of that stuff, and all the cult around the weather and the climate. Okay. So that's number 1, the German farmers today, in the last few days, and probably continuing. We've got the insurrection from 3 years ago. That's now front and center headlines, okay, in America. And then there's the backlash coming from Tucker Carlson and Newsmax and all the people in prison who are, telling a very different story. I've just told you the story about Mr. Ping trying to take over the army, and the army is going to, I think, stage an armed revolution against Mr. Ping. And I think the army is going to work with some of the princelings inside the Communist Party who are also trying to figure out a way to take down Mr. Ping. Mr. Ping has reached the pinnacle of the pinnacle, and he's in a very precarious position, and people are going to try and take him down. The Chinese people are going to try to take him down. That's it. That's basically everything I wanted to share. Yeah, he looks like Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. You got to be careful. I mean, I don't know what I say or don't say that gets me into trouble. The algorithm seems to be very harsh and random. Sometimes I'm completely cut, deleted. Sometimes they let my words fly. I don't know what it is. Oh, so you were a Trump supporter. He set his own people up and never talks about them while they're rotting in federal prison. Well, I disagree with that opinion. That I can see why you think that. I just have a different opinion. I don't believe that he set his people up. I think the people were there peaceably, and they were set up by Pelosi, Schumer, Hillary, Obama, Joe, and that crowd. It's all set up. If you do the studies, if you do the research, you will be horrified at what you discover. Anyway, so we talked about that already. I was the biggest supporter until warp speed, stand back and stand by 5G, and he never built that damn wall. Yeah. Well, the wall never got completed. I have an opinion. I haven't really shared this with anyone, but I have an opinion that when Donald entered office, I don't know if you remember way back when, but one of his slogans was MAGA, let's make America great again. And another one was, we're going to drain the swamp. And my feeling is that he went in there and he was doing the best he could at the time. And personally, I feel that he was actually quite naive. I feel that he was not aware of the depth of evil and the extent of the swamp. I mean, he knew it was bad, but I don't think he really, really fully understood until the 6th day of January, when everything became very, very stark and obvious. There were things that he did during his presidency that I vaguely remember where it didn't make much sense to me. It sounds like he's actually he's going along with the uniparty. And I thought, So I can understand that. But in general, if I had to pick a side, I'm in the camp Trump. Because I don't know who else can do what needs to be done. Someone's got to do it. It's really, really dirty work. Someone's got to do it. Anyway, in America, there's about 100 million people who are literally active live voters who are going to be, signing up for Donald. I'm one of them. But I don't think that's going to make any difference. Throughout the rest of this year, I think there's going to be intense pressure to completely undermine and destroy the events in November, the 5th of November, 2024. That is the day of critical mass. You can look at the astrology. It's going to be chaos. For all I know, we're going to have martial law declared before then. For all I know, the American economy, the dollar is going to collapse before then. For all we know, there's going to be staged cells, sleeper cells, coming alive inside America before then, causing chaos, havoc, and civil war inside America, even before we get to November. It's extremely unstable right now. When Pluto crosses that tipping point, it's going to become even more unstable. So brace yourself. Whatever side you're on, brace yourself, because it's going to be a hell of a ride, okay? Thanks for hanging out with me, ThoughtBot. This is a little image of Bunker Hill, which was a few months before the Declaration of Independence. This is the hill where people died, right over here. It's up in Boston, Massachusetts. It's the hill where the British, you see there's the British ships, they had the massive British Empire ships here, pounding and pounding and pounding away at the American independent military over here. And eventually the British commanders of the ships said, you know what, this just isn't going to work. Every time we bomb and kill another soldier over here holding up the American flag, more soldiers show up. We're running out of cannonballs. We're running out of things to do to stop these crazy wannabe Americans. They're insane. They don't even know that they're a bunch of idiots. We might as well just go home. And so the British fleet just kind of went, you know what, screw this. We're just going back to England. Screw it. That was the end. That was the end. And then shortly afterwards, 4th of July, 1776, the Declaration of Independence. Okay? So even before 4th of July, 1776, that was when Pluto was 27.5 degrees Capricorn, several years away from the tipping point. There was a lot of revolutionary upheaval before, okay? This particular, the Battle of Bunker Hill, was just a very vivid, one of the most vivid examples. It's part of the song. Oh, do, 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 do. That song is all about Bunker Hill. Anyway, so there's a time period leading up to the American Revolution, Declaration of Independence. And then there's the time coming after it as Pluto goes into Aquarius. And it's when Pluto goes into Aquarius that they actually ratify everything and they condense everything into this. Okay? So this just didn't happen over a few months. This happened over years and years and years of chaos, revolution, turmoil, financial turmoil, military turmoil, political turmoil. There you go. Anyway, on that cheerful note, have a super day. I'll connect with you guys soon. Thank you, Russian Thoughtbot. Take care of yourself, man.